In this video, you will learn about forms of percents. Now, as we begin our study of percents, you first must understand what a percent means. So a percent by definition means hundredth, or it means divided by 100. And the symbol for percent is this symbol right here. And when I write it by hand, many times I'll write it like this. So either would be your percent symbol. Now here we see a bunch of different examples of ways that we can say percentage in English. And then we're going to fill in this table to show different ways that we can represent these same expressions. So we can represent these expressions with symbols, we can use fractions, or we can use decimal. So using the symbol, the percent symbol, we can write this as 31 and then the percentage sign after that. So this is 31%. Now remember, percentage means out of 100 or divided by 100. So as a fraction, I can write this as 31 divided by 100. And then as a decimal, when I divide by anything where you have 10 to some power, so like 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, etc., when I divide, all I can do is move the decimal. So here, the shortcut way of converting from fraction to decimal is I see there are two zeros, so I can move the decimal two places. So the decimal was here after the 31, moving it over two places to the left, 1, 2, I'm going to get 0.31. Looking at the next one, 4.6%. I can write this with the percentage symbol as 4.6 and then the percent sign. As a fraction, this would be 4.6 divided by 100. And I can rewrite this, if I wanted to, by getting rid of the decimal. So I can move it over one place to the right by multiplying by 10. Do the same thing to the bottom, multiply by 10, and I get 46 over 1,000. And then you can always reduce as well if you wanted. Now, as a decimal, I see there are three zeros here at the bottom of the fraction, so I can move the decimal place three places. It starts here after the 6, move it to the left three places, 1, 2, and then one more, means I have to add a 0 in the front, so this becomes 0.046. And the 0 before the decimal is not necessary. You could just write this as 0.046 if you prefer. Next we have 321%. So with the symbol, we would do 3, 2, 1, and then the percent sign. As a fraction, we take 321 divided by 100. Or I can think of this as 3 and 21 over 100. So from here, I can write this as a decimal. 21 over 100, I move the decimal from the 1, and I move it two places because there are two zeros I'm dividing by. Move it two places to the left, that becomes 3.21. So as a decimal, I can write that as 3.21. Here we have 0.38%. With the symbol, it would be 0.38 and then the percent sign. As a fraction, this would be 0.38 divided by 100, or I can move the decimal place two places to the right to make this with no decimal on the top. But to do that, I have to multiply the top and the bottom both by 100. So when I multiply by 100 on the top, I have 38, and then 100 times 100 would give me 10,000 on the bottom. And then as a decimal, I see that I'm dividing by a 1 with 4 zeros, so I can move the decimal place 4 places to the left. So it starts here after the 8, moving it 4 places to the left, means I move it 1, 2, and then I need 2 zeros in front, so that would becomes 0.0038. Now we have a fraction with a percent. So 2/5% I can write as 2 over 5 with the percent sign, or I can convert 2 over 5 to a decimal, which is 0.4. So then as a fraction, I can write this as 0.4 divided by 100, or I can move the decimal over to the right, so that way there is no digit after the decimal. And to do that, I multiply top and bottom by 10. And when I do that, I have 4 on the top and then 1,000 on the bottom. So then as a decimal, we can convert by moving the decimal place 3 places to the left, because I'm dividing by a 1 with 3 zeros. So it starts after the 4, move it 3 places to the left. I'm going to have to add 2 zeros in the front to get 0.004. And lastly, we have 66 and 2/3%. Now to write this with the symbol, I just put the percent sign after. And then when I convert to a fraction, it's going to be helpful in this particular case to think of 66 and 2/3 as an improper fraction. So to convert to an improper fraction, I take 66 times 3 plus 2 to get 200 for the top. And then your denominator would be 3. So that's 200 over 3%. Now as a fraction, I take this 200 over 3 and I divide by 100, just like I've been doing here. So 200 over 3 divided by 100. Now that is the same thing as multiplying by 1 over 100. So 200 over 3 divided by 100 is 1 over 100 being multiplied. So when I multiply, I can reduce anything on the top with anything on the bottom. 200 divided by 100 gives me 2 over 1. So now I have 2 times 1 on the top, which is 2, and then 3 times 1, which is 3 on the bottom. So my fraction is 2 over 3. And then as a decimal, 2 over 3 would be 0.6 repeating, and that is one you should have memorized. Next, we're going to work with converting from any of these notations into a different notation. So for example, write 1/5 as a percent. And there's actually 2 ways you can do this. You can use method 1, which is where I take the fraction and then write as a decimal. So 1 over 5 should be memorized to be 0.2. And then as a percent, I simply take this decimal and move it 2 places to the right to make a percent. So move it 2 places to the right. I have 1, 2, I need to add a 0. That becomes 20%. So that is method 1, convert to a decimal, then from decimal to percent. Another method is I can create an equation where I know that 1/5 to convert to a percent means something divided by 100. So I can create an equation where I have 1 over 5 equals x over 100. And then from here I can cross multiply to solve. 5 times x equals 1 times 100, so 5x equals 100. And then from here I can divide both sides by 5. When I divide both sides by 5, on the left I have x, and on the right I have 20. So my solution would be 20 over 100, which would be 20%. So 20% is my solution. Next we have 2 more examples, and for each of these examples I will walk you through both of the methods of converting. So here we're writing 2/3 as a percent. So using method 1, I convert the fraction to a decimal. So 2/3 should be memorized as 0.6 repeating, or 0.666, etc. And then to convert to a percent, I simply move the decimal place 2 places to the right, 1, 2, which would be 66.6666 repeating, which would be 66.7% if you round it. Using the other method, I can write an equation where I know 2/3 I can convert to something over 100, which would be my percentage. So I can get that equation. I can then cross multiply 3 times x, 2 times 100 to get 3x equals 200. And then divide both sides by 3. I have x on the left side, and then 200 over 3 on the right side, which when I divide, I will get 66.7%. 0.66 repeating as my answer. So my solution would be 66.7%. So either way, we get the same solution. One more, we have 3.6 written as a percent. So method 1, we can simply take the 3.6, and this is already in a decimal format. So no need to convert to a decimal because it already is. I can simply move the decimal place 2 places to the right. 1, 2, which means I need to add a 0 at the end. So that becomes 360%. Method 2, I can create an equation. 3.6 equals something out of 100. So I can then use that equation to solve. 3.6 I can think of as 3.6 over 1. I can cross multiply. 1 times x equals 3.6 times 100. So x equals 360. So the x is 360. So we have 360 over 100, which means my percentage would be 360%. And that concludes our lesson for today. We will see you next time.